This is our math video for Wednesday, August 19th. So go ahead and open your math books to page 25 and 26. You can pause the video while you do so. So y'all know that you know already that lots of times I like to teach you the information before you ever see it in the math book, because I can feel like I can make it a lot more understandable than just trying to look at it in the math book. But we are beginning to learn about measures, and really measures, it is what it is. You just have to memorize the facts, which you have been doing some interactive worksheets on measurements. So, and these actually are coming up on a test as well. So you want to be sure that you are memorizing the measurements. So on page 25, look at the top. So it says linear measures are used to measure length. If you look at the word linear, you see the word line, and you measure the length of a line. So linear measures are used to measure length. The meter is the metric basic unit of length. So we have the meter, and that is the metric unit of length. The one that is most used is the basic unit. And a meter is slightly longer than a yardstick. But we know there's 3 feet in a yard. A meter stick is just a little bit longer than that yardstick that has 3 feet in it. Now 1 centimeter is less than about half an inch. So if you look at your finger, a centimeter is about the breadth of your finger. So it's less than half an inch. So think about an inch on your ruler. You can even get your rulers out. Pause the video if you want and get your rulers out. So look at your inch on your ruler and go to half an inch, and a centimeter is going to be a little bit less than half of an inch. And then a kilometer, these are the abbreviations I'm writing on the board. A kilometer is about 5/8 of a mile. Okay? And if you look right in the middle of your box, you see the English linear measures. 12 inches equals 1 foot, that is a must know. We see that 36 inches equals 1 yard, that is a must know. We say that 3 feet equals 1 yard, that is a must know. We see that 5,280 feet equals 1 mile, you must know that. And we see that 1,760 yards equals 1 mile, we must know that as well. So all of those measures need to be circled and highlighted and exclamation points all the way around them, because those need to be memorized. Now I want you to look at, going down, the metric prefixes and symbols. So if you notice, well, we won't even talk about that right now, that might get confusing. Go ahead and look at milli, M-I-L-L-I. That is a metric prefix, it's abbreviated M. That is a metric prefix that means 1/1000. Now it can be written as a fraction, or it can be written as a decimal. Tenths, hundredths, thousands. So I want you to notice the I in milli, and then I want you to notice the fraction. The next one I want to show you is centi. Centi. Notice the I. The abbreviation for centi is C. Centi means 1/100th, or 0.01. So notice the I and notice the fraction. Whenever our prefix, milli, centi, we have another one, deci. Deci is 1/10, or 0.1. Notice our I in the prefix. Notice our fraction. Whenever our prefix has an I in it, it's going to be a fraction. We know that a millennium is 1,000 years. The prefix milli stands for 1/1000th. We know that there's 100 years in a century. The prefix centi is 1/100th. We know that there's 10 years in a decade. The prefix deci is 1/10. Whenever your prefix has a I, it is going to be a part. It's going to be a fraction, okay? And then we have kilo. Now, kilo equals 1,000, the prefix kilo. Then we have the prefix hecto. Hecto equals 100. Then we have the prefix deca. Deca equals 10. So you will need to know these prefixes. Milli equals 1,000. Centi equals 100. Deci equals 1/10. You will then need to know that kilo equals 1,000. Hecto equals 100. And deca equals 10. Those are very important to know. And go ahead and look at the second bold line in your box up there. It says metric linear measures. So 1 meter, look here, 1 meter is 10 decimeters. Going straight across, 1 decameter is 10 meters. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. 1 hectometer is 100 meters. 1 meter is 1,000 millimeters, but 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, okay? So let's look at section 1. Now section 1, you're just going to read straight from the top and fill in those answers. So I'm going to let you do that on your own. Look at section 2, though. I do want to do section 2 with you. I want you to notice at the top, it says write the correct abbreviation in each blank. Most times when we write abbreviations, our abbreviations always end with a period. However, metric abbreviations do not end with a period. So when we are abbreviating meter, it is simply M. So put an M on the line with no period. Now when we are abbreviating mile, look at the, oh, it's not there, I have to tell you. So when we abbreviate mile, it's M-I, period. English measurements do have periods in their abbreviations. When we abbreviate foot, it's F-T, period. When we abbreviate inch, it's I-N, period. You should be writing these in your book. If you haven't, you need to pause your video and go back and get caught up. Letter E, kilometer. Now that's a metric measurement. So the abbreviation for kilometer is KM. Do we put a period at the end? No. No periods on metric measurement abbreviations. And then letter F is yard. Y-D, period. Now we're going to mark true or false for these statements. Look at our statement in section 3, letter A. It says 1 centimeter is greater than 1 inch. Well, right here we have that 1 centimeter is less than half an inch. So is it possible that it's greater than 1 inch? No, so we're going to mark false on that little statement there because that is not true. Letter B, it says that 2 kilometers is greater than 1 mile. And right here, we put that a kilometer is 5/8 of a mile. So if you had 5/8 plus 5/8, that would be 10/8. So is 2 kilometers greater than a mile? Yes, it is. So we're going to circle A because that is true. We'll color it in, don't circle it. And then letter C, it says that 1 mile is less than 1 yard. Now in our measurements at the top, it says that there's 1,760 yards in a mile. So is 1 mile less than 1 yard? Absolutely not. It takes 1,760 of them to make just 1 mile, right? So we're going to color in B for false there. Turn your papers to the back side, and let's look at section 4A. It says use the ruler in the information box on page 25 to answer your questions. So it says 1 centimeter contains how many millimeters? So look at the ruler stick on the bottom, okay? And a millimeter is all of the tiny little lines. So it says 1 centimeter contains 10 millimeters. So you're going to take the 100 or the 1,000 millimeters and divide that by 100, and that's going to give you your 10 centimeters. Letter B says 1 decimeter contains how many centimeters? So go over there and look at your decimeter and see how many centimeters are in that 1 decimeter. The decimeter is the whole little measurement box, and that is 10. Letter C, 1 decimeter contains how many millimeters? Go over there, use your box, count by a certain number. It is 100 millimeters. And letter D, which measure is shorter, the centimeter or the millimeter? Now we're not asking which number is bigger, which prefix number is bigger. We're asking which measurement is bigger, or is smaller, I'm sorry. Very good, a millimeter is smaller than a centimeter. Letter E, which measure is longer, the decimeter or the centimeter? The decimeter is longer, very good. And then letter F, does it take more millimeters or centimeters to make a decimeter? It takes more millimeters because they're so much smaller. Look at section 5. It says choose the best measure, foot, yard, or mile, for measuring the following lengths. What would we use to measure a snake? I hope not a yard or a mile, just a foot to measure a snake. When you're writing the abbreviation, these are English measurements, so each abbreviation will end with a period. Foot, F-T, period. What would we use to measure a city block? Yeah, we would use a mile to measure a city block, M-I, period. What would we use to measure a track, like a track around a football field? We would measure yards use yards to measure a track, YD, period. What would we use to measure a football field? If you watch football with your dads or moms, you know that football is going down the field in yards, YD, period. What would we use to measure an alligator? Feet, hopefully, FT, period. What would we use to measure a river? Miles, MI, period. All right, so the rest of your sheet you guys will complete on your own. Remote students, when you are done, you will tear this sheet out. You will place it behind your Wednesday divider in your remote packet. Those of you who are working from home, you will tear it out and you will put it in your red folders ready to turn back into me in class. Be sure your name and your dates are on your assignments.